If you're waiting to start your garden because you are sure that there is not enough sun to make anything grow, then you're going to want to watch this video. I'm going to show you 20 vegetables you can grow in the shade or just a little bit of sun, no matter where you live, no matter how much gardening experience that you have. My name is Nicole Burke, and I'm the founder of Gardenary. We're on a mission to make gardening ordinary again. And part of that means showing you that all those limitations, all the things that everyone says you have to have in order to have a garden, you can forget about those rules. So let's talk about 20 plants that you can grow even if you have very little to no sunlight in your vegetable garden. We're going to kick it off by talking about herbs. Now, I outline growing herbs here in my book in step number 2. I like to say that herbs are one of the simplest things to grow in the garden, and that's because they are leaves, but also for most of these, you're going to be starting with plants. You're not going to be starting with seed. You can start a few of them from seed, but you're going to get all kinds of harvest from these plants because almost all of them are cut and come again varieties. You can grow them in containers, you can grow them in raised beds, you can grow a lot of these even just in your landscape. So the first one to talk about is rosemary. Rosemary is an herb that originates from the Mediterranean. It does thrive if you have a ton of sunlight, but it will also survive and continue to grow even if you have just a little bit. So rosemary is the first vegetable herb that you can grow in a shady garden. The next one is oregano. It's from the Mediterranean. That's its origins. So it does do well if you have a lot of sunlight, but it also continues to grow in a garden in an area with less sun. So I've got all this oregano growing on every corner of my garden, and it thrives in really sunny spots and in shady spots too. The next one would be sage. Sage is also a Mediterranean herb. It's in the same plant family. It's called the mint plant family or the Lamiaceae plant family, and it also does really well in shady areas. In fact, of those 3 herbs, I would say sage is one of the ones that can really hang on and continue to thrive when there's not a lot of sunlight. The next herb number 4 after sage, is thyme. Thyme, once again, is in the Lamiaceae plant family. It did originate around the Mediterranean, and it also thrives when you don't have a ton of sunlight. Thyme and sage are going to be the herbs that do really, really well when you don't have a lot of sunlight, even more so than rosemary and oregano. The next one, some people call this not necessarily an herb, but I use it as an herb, and that is chives. Chives are literally they're the easiest plant to grow in the garden. They are the most flexible. They're like your BFF in the garden because they are so not demanding. Like, you forget about them, you don't touch them, you don't do anything with them for months on end, and they're fine. They're just doing their thing, growing, ready for you to harvest them. So chives are absolutely something all of us, no matter the sunlight that we have, can replace from the grocery store to grow your own. The next herb is one you don't want to plant with the rest of your herbs or the rest of your plants in your vegetable garden, but that is mint. So mint is a great one to grow in a container all by itself. In a shady area, you are going to completely replace your grocery store mint. You're going to be making like mint ice cream and mint chutney and mint infused water. You could just have mint every single day, even if you have a very shady yard. All right, the next herb is lemon balm. Lemon balm is a prolific plant. You want to be sure you do not put it in a raised bed. It will take over. Lemon balm's also in the Lamiaceae plant family. It will do great in bright sun, but it actually really loves shade. All right, next up are some more herbs, but they're in a totally different plant family. They're in the carrot plant family. These herbs I would plant from seed, and they are dill, parsley, and cilantro. Now let's talk about the other favorite leafy green, or the other favorite leaves that I love to grow besides herbs. Herbs are my top. The next one right under herbs would be lettuces and leafy greens. The first one is kale. So kale is known as a biennial plant, which means it wants to stay in your garden for 2 years before it goes to seed. So any kind of kale will work in your kitchen garden, even if it's shady. They're a super hardy plant and will give you lots and lots of leaves for a long, long time. The next plant that will stay in your garden for a long time and give you lots of greens, even in the shade, is Swiss chard. Swiss chard is in the spinach family, the amaranth family, and Swiss chard you could start from plant. It's also a biennial, so same rules apply, and you can cut from it again and again, and it does not mind the shade one bit. Another green that works well, that gets really big, lasts a long time, are mustards and collards. Both of those grow in shady areas. They'll give you lots and lots of harvests. They're not as long lasting as the kale and the Swiss chard, but they do last for months on end, and the plants grow big. The leaves get even bigger. You're going to have tons of harvest from plants like this, even in shady areas. Next up are some of those Asian greens that we love, like bok choy. Bok choy, toi choy, all those greens grow in shady areas. And let me tell you, if you've never tasted homegrown bok choy, you are going to love it, and you're especially going to be proud that you're pulling it out of a very shady area. Now let's talk about some smaller leafy greens that do well in shaded areas. So first would be the classic, the easiest. If you don't grow anything else that I talk about today, you have to grow this in the shade, and it is arugula. Arugula grows great from seed. It's actually in the brassica family, so similar to kale and the mustards, but arugula is so much easier to grow, very, very tiny, starts with seed. You'll get so many prolific leaves. If you're still eating Trader Joe's arugula shipped to you from California, you are missing out. The next green that I love to grow in the shade from seed that's very easy to grow is called black-seeded Simpson. Black-seeded Simpson is a very easy green, has a very small seed, and it's just this nice frilly lettuce. So delicious, so crunchy and fresh, so easy to grow in the shade. My favorite lettuce mix is called Rocky Top. It's a variety of like a spring mix. So you know those plastic boxes you buy from the grocery that you put at the back of your fridge and throw out 2 weeks later? Yeah, those. So you can replace that with this spring mix. This spring mix grows and thrives in the shade, and you can buy it from other suppliers. Baker Creek has one that I really love. So a spring mix is another plant you can grow in the shade. Next up is spinach. Spinach is in the amaranth family. I love Bloomsdale long-standing spinach, another plant you can grow in the shade. Put it in by seed, water it heavily. You have to wait. You're going to think it's not coming up. It's going to take almost 2 weeks. Then when that plant comes up, it's going to take off, and you're going to be loving spinach for the first time in your life because you grew it yourself in the shade. Another lettuce that is so easy to grow in the garden, you're going to think, why haven't I done this before, is romaine lettuce. You know that stuff that keeps getting recalled because there's like an E. coli scare in California? Well, you can grow it yourself by seed. Romaine can be grown to be little cuts, so you can have just small little pieces of romaine lettuce, or you can grow it to be the full head like we get at the grocery store. Romaine does not mind low light in the garden. It will still thrive even in a shady place. The next one is a fancy one, radicchio. Have you heard of this one? It's so good for you, and you can grow it even in a shady garden. It's one of those fancy greens you only get at a fancy restaurant, but you can be fancy and grow it yourself in your own shady vegetable garden. And finally, the last one is sorrel or sorrel. I'm not sure how you say it. Sorrel is this really cool citrusy green. It can actually be a perennial in the garden, so it will grow in a shady place, and it grows, it's very even frost tolerant. So it can grow before your last frost and after your first frost, and it gives you this delicious citrusy taste. You've now got 20 plants that you can grow right away, no matter how much light you have. Now here's the good news. These plants not only can tolerate shade, they also can tolerate lowered temperatures. So especially the leafy greens that we talked about and the cool season herbs like cilantro, parsley, and dill, all of those plants don't mind frost. So you can plant them well before your last frost, and you can enjoy them well past your first frost. So these plants make it possible for us to push further into more seasons in our garden and to make the most of the year, no matter where we live. All right, so you can learn more about what to grow in a shady place or a semi-shady place or a sunny place in my book, Leaves, Roots, and Fruit. This teaches you the whole continuum that I talked about today in a step-by-step method. And if you want help to set up your garden, you can check out my first book called Kitchen Garden Revival. This one shows you how to build your raised beds, how to put in the trellises, how to pull it all together in a beautiful kitchen garden just like mine. We have a free resource we want to give to you right below this video. This is going to help you make your garden happen in the coming year. And we also have a live workshop that is happening very soon. So you can find out how to save your seat for that one below this video as well. Thank you so much for being part of Gardenary. Thank you for watching this video, and thank you for growing all 20 of these plants in your shady garden right alongside me. If you go for it, if you plant even one of these plants, I'd love for you to send me a message or a DM online. You can find Gardenary anywhere you like to watch videos, learn more at gardenary.com and all across the internet at Gardenary Co. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, like this video, tell me which one of these 20 plants you're going to put in your garden first, and I can't wait to see you next time.